few people asked, when you're generating a, so within, maybe I can just share this instead. So this is Google Gemini, of course, and you can type in your prompts here. When you pay for Gemini, you get the custom gems, so you can customize a gem specific to you. There are some pre-made by Google, so here you can see we have coding partner, career guide, brainstorm, or writing editor, but you can also build out your own gems specific to you, specific to your role. And so if I click on, for example, I've got lesson gamifier here. If I edit that, just very quickly see, we have our purpose and goals. We have our instructions about how to gamify an existing lesson plan. Well, Google's just updated. You can now add your own files from within Google Drive for these custom gems to reference. So for example, with this lesson gamifier, I might want to add in here, add files from Drive or upload files that perhaps around the curriculum or perhaps around grading standards or anything else. So these are background files that you can add to your custom gem. So that's now possible. You can add up to 10 files per custom gem. So that's all built in. Yeah, that's right, Donovan, absolutely. A lot of people were asking after this. A lot of people are always asking, when can we share those custom gems with other users on the domain? Don't know, we keep asking Google as well. Second most requested feature. Okay, next up, this is one more for the Google developers. So importing data into Google Chat. So you can set up group chats programmatically, and you can import data to Google Chats as well. That's more on the programmatical side for developers. Similarly, within, if you're using connected sheets are a way to visualize data that you have within BigQuery. So rather than going into BigQuery to look at those tables of data, you can do that via connected sheets, so using the familiar Google Sheets interface. And with that, of course, you can now reuse predefined queries from BigQuery, so import those in. Yeah, thanks, Laurie. I think Laurie's a good person to ask about this. You're the expert on that, Laurie. So that's all built into connected sheets. This is about client-side encryption. You can now import sensitive Word documents. Client-side encryption, I don't know many schools. We still don't know many schools who are actually using this. So I'll just park that one there and move on. Rather than, so a lot of updates came to Google Chat settings this year. And one of them now is the ability to select chat settings at the group level rather than just at the OU level. So if you're looking for additional ways to control Google Chats, you can now do that via groups instead of only OUs. So things like chat apps, chat file sharing, auto deletion for messages and so on, and history for chats, all can be controlled at the group level. Last week, well, actually, this has been happening for a few weeks now, and you may already have seen this on your domains. The Gemini chat experience is now available for teen students. So that is for 13 plus. Actually, it depends on the applicable age in your country. For most regions, it's 13. For some regions, it's 14. The Gemini chat experience can be enabled for OUs, which you mark as having users over the age of 13. So already on your domain, you're going to have OUs, which you've marked as under 18. If you mark specific OUs as over 13, you can now enable the Gemini app for teen students. Then students can have access to Gemini as well. And again, that all comes under Google's terms of service on privacy. No education data is being used for training the models, nor human review. And of course, this Gemini app for teen students is free as well. So you can go ahead and enable that. There's no cost to this. Okay, Google Slides received an update recently. It was one of two sort of presentation tools we're going to look at. We'll have a look at Google Vids in a minute. So Google Slides just received a number of new templates. In fact, I haven't seen them yet. I think they're still rolling out. But yeah, there's a number of new templates coming out to Google Slides, updated templates. I think those old ones are maybe 5 or maybe 10 years old already. So it's good to see some updates there. And then Google Vids. So we did a couple of demos on Google Vids a while ago. So Google Vids is a new presentation tool for Google Drive. So you can access it by going to vids.google.com, or you can go to Google Drive and hit the new button, and then you can choose Google Vids. Google Vids allows you to create animated decks, essentially, similar to what you can do inside of Canva, but then you can animate these with stock video footage. You can have your own video footage. You can generate images. You can import your own images. And then if you are using Gemini along with Vids, you can automatically generate the storyboard and the script and even a voiceover as well. So without Gemini, you can still create Google Vids. It's just manually creating everything. But with Gemini, you have a generative capabilities as well of creating the voiceover and also the storyline. Yeah, Alex, it should be now. So it should be general access now or up to 14 days, as Google says. So this was just announced last Thursday, Thursday the 7th. So it should be over the next 14 days if you're not seeing it already. I know a couple of schools had access to this in beta, but yeah, it's GA now. So if you're not seeing it today, you should be seeing it over the next week or two. It's a great tool, great use case for this. Parents meeting, instead of creating a static slide deck to give parents to take away, you can create essentially the same deck and add a voiceover and give them the video to take away. Yeah, there's a couple of slides there about Google Vids. Okay, finally some language support. And I think, Alex, this one is for you. Finally some language support for Gemini in the side panel of Workspace: French, German, Italian, Japanese, Korean, Portuguese, and Spanish. So this is when you're accessing Gemini education, so the paid version of Gemini. If you have one of those licenses, when you open up a Google Doc or a slide deck, or you're inside of Gmail, you can interact with Gemini in those additional languages. Okay, small update here for Google Meet live streams. You can now just view those. If you're watching the live stream, you can view in-meeting chat messages. Before, you could only see the live stream. Now you can see the chat messages as well, which are happening within the live stream. Okay, there's an update here about Android devices. Let people review that one. Okay, AI classification. So a quick overview of AI classification. So there are two versions of Gemini Education: Gemini Education and then Gemini Education Premium. With the Premium licensing, and I think we need to do a demo of this to go into detail what it is, you're able to train models for DLP. So these are AI trained models. What you do is you upload, or you select a number of documents that you want to train the model on, and AI will then learn from those documents and automatically suggest sharing restrictions when you go to your account and share a file. So for example, if you trained your model on, sticking with Singapore national ID, selected a number of files, Singapore national IDs, and then you said, if it has this ID number, prevent sharing, that would be training the model. It's not just about putting it to the admin console and saying, detect this string using regex, for example. You're actually training a model. So then when a user goes to share, it's a pop-up that actually appears on their screen, and then it would show that this file may contain one of those Singapore national IDs, for example, and then prevent that sharing or suggest a different way to share. I think we need to do a proper demo of that. So maybe look at that next month. Okay, I think you may have seen this already. This launched to Google Chat already. Just a better way of reducing notifications from Google Chat. And in the last few weeks, I'm sure everybody has seen tables now in Google Sheets. Now, if you create a Google form, all of the responses by default will be formatted in this new table format within Google Sheets. You can create your own tables within Google Sheets as well, but for example, from Forms, it automatically does that. They've just improved the filter conditions. I really like these for large data sets and for also formatting your data as well, systemizing your data formatting. just some better filter conditions for this. Okay, similar to data classification labels for Google Drive, data classification labels, again, this is all around data loss prevention, are coming to Gmail as well. These are in open beta. So you should be able to access this directly under label management from the admin console. This slide is linked, so you'll be able to go through to the release here and see how to do this. But it's essentially bringing those Google Drive DLP policies into Gmail as well. Back to Gemini. Again, if you're a Gemini user, you've probably seen that Gemini is now available in the side panel of Google Chat. So within Google Chat, if you have Gemini, the same as within Gmail, you can get a summary of conversations. And so if you know, like a group conversation where you have maybe 20 unread messages and you want to get caught up, it will summarize that thread. And you can even ask, say, what are my takeaways, or what are my next steps? What are my tasks? So Gemini is now available in the side panel of Google Chat. There's been a couple of updates as well to not just context-aware access insights, but also the data menus, the data security menus within the admin console. There's been a lot of updates for this over the last couple of months. But now you can see context-aware access policies and insights within the admin console. It's a new page, and you can go and see an overview of any context-aware access policies that you have in place, and then the insights about those as well. So for example, if you have maybe a context-aware policy set up for checking the version number of your device, or if it's out of date or similar such thing, you could unearth those statistics in the admin console. Okay, it's like visual update to Google Chat, just a density setting, so you can, just a different way of viewing Google Chats. Okay, so been a number of updates to the import and export features within Google Classroom. One of those is now the ability to export missing grades or excused grades to the SIS. Unfortunately, it's only to, well, essentially there's a number of supported systems, but I believe the only one that international schools would be using would be PowerSchool. So if you are using PowerSchool and exporting grades to PowerSchool, this would apply to you. There's a number of other supported systems, but they're very US centric. I think the only one that international schools would be using would be PowerSchool. Yeah, slight update to the Gmail interface with Gemini, just easier access to the polish shortcut. So if you have a Gemini education license, there is a button at the bottom that says polish. So if you type your email and just quickly hit polish, it will check the grammar, spelling, but also tidy up the language in your email as well. It's a very, very quick way just to clean up emails before you send them. So that's just creating better visibility for that polish button. And again, another Gemini update. So over the last few months, we've just been talking about this as well. There's different terms of service depending on whether you're using the free version of Gemini or the paid version. Now, if you're on the paid version of Gemini, it's classified as a core service. If you're on the free version of Gemini, it's classified as an additional service. In both cases, I just want to underline that the same privacy agreements are in place, and that is that Google is not using education data for training models nor for human review. So it doesn't matter whether it's additional or core service, data is not being used to train their models nor human review. Now, if you pay for Gemini, it's then classified as a core service and gets improved support timings. So you get quicker support, basically. And that's the difference from the additional service. Just a quick reminder, if people are wondering, an additional service could be Google Maps or YouTube. A core service would be Google Drive and Gmail. There's now a policy API for audit security settings. So that enables you to dive in deeper to your Google environment programmatically and uncover certain settings using an API. So if you're doing, continual audits, I could think of an example for this would be just to monitor specific settings using the API and export that data to possibly Looker Studio via BigQuery, just to monitor ongoing what is happening. Google Calendar has received an update. It's been a long time since we talked about Google Calendar. Finally, it's got an update. And not just Google Calendar, but I think a couple of months ago, we talked about the latest for when you publish a calendar. That's received an update as well. So it's really updated Google Calendar. I know a lot of schools use published calendars on their websites. They're looking a little bit old. I think that interface is like over 10 years old. So in general, Google Calendar received a lot of updates. Yeah, looking good. Another one for Google Drive, the video player. So if people are always asking what to do with video, how to host video, especially for students, obviously you can put it onto YouTube as unlisted. Another way is to place your video within Google Drive. It was always, until earlier this year, when you hosted files, when you hosted videos in Google Drive, they always seem to be a little bit slow to play. Well, that has changed a few months ago. They've improved the playability of videos, responsiveness of playing a video within Google Drive, and now they've updated the interface, the actual video player for Google Drive as well. So if you are hosting video and you're asking users to play video back, they're going to see that updated interface. Okay, an update for all of those Android tablet users out there, which is probably not many in this group. But if you were, the comment experience has improved. I'll leave that one there. Okay, so Gemini, another update, a lot of updates for Gemini, a lot of advances here. Gemini recently received an update to be able to use additional extensions from Google Keep, Google Tasks, and Google Calendar, all from within Gemini. So now from within Gemini, you can ask questions about your tasks or your Keep notes, and you can also interact with Google Calendar as well, all within Gemini. This is continuing to roll out. I just received access to this just a day or two ago when I tried it out. And again, I think we already talked about using Gemini in Google Chat. So I think we've already covered that. I believe we may well be hitting the end for this month. So not sure if we mentioned this, but a couple of months ago, there was a Google update which allowed admins to control the visibility of pronouns on users' profiles. Now those can be displayed in Google Meet as well. Okay, and as this is an alpha release, we already talked about the main release for additional languages. Yes, and that is it for this month.